Right now, as you watch this, there is a world beneath you where the laws of physics simply break. We've spent billions searching for aliens in space, but we forgot about the ones living 36,000 feet below our feet. Today, we aren't just diving. We're entering a zone where your lungs would collapse to the size of a marble in milliseconds. Welcome to the abyss, where light is a lie and the monsters aren't just real, they're waiting. Imagine standing on the deck of a ship, looking out at the vast blue horizon. The ocean looks peaceful, almost inviting. A gentle breeze, the rhythmic sound of waves, and the sun reflecting off the water like a billion diamonds. But this beauty is a lie. It is a thin, fragile veil. Beneath that shimmering surface lies a world that defies every rule of nature you've ever known. A world where physics breaks, where light dies, and where evolution has taken a path so dark it borders on the demonic. As we begin our descent, the first few hundred feet are familiar. This is the sunlight zone, epipelagic. Here, life is fueled by the sun. You see colorful coral reefs, majestic whales, and playful dolphins. It's the ocean from the postcards. But as we pass 600 feet, the warmth vanishes. The blue starts to turn into a bruised, sickly purple. The pressure begins to mount. By the time we hit 3,000 feet, we enter the midnight zone, bathypelagic. Here, sunlight is not just absent, it is a myth. For the creatures here, the sun is as distant and irrelevant as a star in another galaxy. The pressure is already immense, equivalent to having a large car parked on every square inch of your body. But why is it that the deeper we go, the more the inhabitants look like they were designed by a horror movie director? Why do eyes become massive or disappear into hollow sockets? Why do teeth grow so long they can't fit inside mouths? Today we are diving 36,000 feet down to the Mariana Trench to uncover the chilling evolution of the deep. This is ocean mystery, and this is the science of the abyss, the physics of the crush. To understand the creepiness of deep-sea creatures, we first have to understand their cage. The most defining factor of the deep is hydrostatic pressure. On land, we live under 1 atmosphere of pressure, but for every 33 feet you descend into the water, that pressure increases by another atmosphere. At the bottom of the ocean, it's over 1,000 times the pressure at the surface. If you or I were to go down there unprotected, our lungs would collapse instantly, the air inside them compressed to the size of a marble. Every bone in your body would snap like a dry twig. Your very cells would be crushed. But the creatures of the abyss have mastered this. Take the blobfish. You've probably seen the viral photos, a pink, saggy, miserable-looking lump of jelly. We laughed at it, called it the world's ugliest animal. But that was a tragedy of our own making. In its natural habitat, 4,000 feet down, the blobfish is a perfectly normal, sleek fish. It only looks creepy to us because it lacks a traditional skeleton. Its body is made of a gelatinous mass slightly less dense than water, allowing it to float without burning energy. When it's pulled to the surface, the rapid change in pressure causes its tissue to expand and collapse into that famous blob shape. It is a creature of the crush, falling apart in our world of thin air. Then there is the scaly-foot snail, Chrysomalon squamiferum. Found near hydrothermal vents where the water is hot enough to melt lead, this snail has done something no other animal has. It has evolved a shell made of iron sulfides. It is literally a living tank. Evolution here doesn't care about beauty. It only cares about not being crushed into a pancake or dissolved by toxic chemicals. It is the ultimate survivalist in a world that wants to erase you. The tyranny of darkness. In a world of total darkness, your eyes are either your greatest tool or your biggest weakness. In the Twilight Zone, many creatures have evolved massive, upward-pointing eyes to catch the faint silhouettes of prey swimming above them. Take the barrel-a fish. This is perhaps one of the strangest biological designs on Earth. It has a completely transparent, fluid-filled dome on its head. Inside that dome are 2 glowing green cylinders. Those are its eyes. It looks through its own forehead. This alien design allows it to see through the darkness while protecting its sensitive vision from the stinging cells of drifting jellyfish. But as we go even deeper into the midnight zone, eyes often become useless. Many species are blind, relying instead on vibrations and scent. However, some have turned darkness into a trap. This is where bioluminescence comes in. The anglerfish is the icon of deep-sea horror. The female carries a glowing lure, an organ called the esca, filled with millions of light-producing bacteria. To a hungry fish in the dark, that little light looks like a snack. But as they approach, they find themselves staring into rows of translucent, needle-sharp teeth. In the deep, light is a lie. If you see a light in the abyss, it's already too late. But it gets weirder. The black dragonfish uses a sniper strategy. Most bioluminescence is blue or green, which most deep-sea fish can see. But the dragonfish produces a red light. Since almost no other deep-sea creature can see red, the dragonfish uses it like an invisible infrared flashlight to hunt its prey in total secrecy. It is the ultimate predator, a ghost in the dark, hunting with light that no one else can see. Abyssal gigantism, the nightmare scale. One of the most terrifying phenomena of the deep is gigantism. On land, insects are small and mammals are large. But in the deep, everything is flipped. Why does a common woodlouse grow to the size of a football in the deep sea? Meet the giant isopod. These armored scavengers crawl along the seafloor like prehistoric monsters. Scientists believe they grow so large because of Kleiber's law. Larger animals have a more efficient metabolism. In a place where a meal might only come once a year, being big allows you to store more fat and survive longer periods of starvation. And then there are the legends, the giant squid and the colossal squid. These monsters can grow up to 46 feet long, with eyes the size of basketballs, the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. They live in a permanent state of war with sperm whales. We only know of their existence because of the massive circular scars they leave on whales' skins and the dead carcasses that wash ashore. Imagine floating in the pitch black and seeing a tentacle the size of a tree trunk emerge from the gloom. This isn't mythology, it's a reality in the cold, dark waters of the Southern Ocean. But gigantism isn't just about squids and isopods. There are sea spiders with leg spans of over 3 feet. There are jellyfish like the Stygiomedusa gigantea, which has mouth arms that can reach 33 feet in length, billowing through the water like dark, spectral curtains. These creatures aren't just big, they are hauntingly efficient. The macabre economy of death in the abyss. There are no plants. No sunlight means no photosynthesis. So how does anything stay alive? The answer is as creepy as the fish themselves. They eat marine snow, a constant drizzle of organic detritus, dead skin, and fecal matter falling from the surface. But the real event is a whale fall. When a 50-ton whale dies, its body sinks to the floor. For the creatures below, this is like a gift from the heavens. Within hours, the carcass is surrounded by hagfish, jawless, primitive eels that produce buckets of thick, suffocating slime to drive away competitors. They tie themselves in knots to tear off chunks of flesh. Once the flesh is gone, the zombie worms Osedax arrive. These worms have no mouths and no stomachs. They sprout green roots that penetrate the whale's bones, using symbiotic bacteria to dissolve the calcium in fat. They turn a skeleton into a living colony. In the deep, death is the ultimate fuel for life. It is a circular economy of the macabre, where every ounce of life from the surface is recycled by the monsters of the mud. The silent predators. Sharks of the shadows. We think of great whites when we think of sharks, but the deep sea holds species that make the great white look like a goldfish. The Greenland shark is perhaps the most mysterious. It lives in the freezing depths and can grow up to 20 feet long. But here is the kicker. It moves at a snail's pace, yet it has been found with reindeer and seals in its stomach. How? It is an ambush predator that waits for prey to sleep. It can live for 400 to 500 years. There are sharks swimming right now in the deep that were alive when the Taj Mahal was being built. They are living fossils, slow-motion ghosts of the cold. Then there is the frilled shark. With a body like an eel and 300 needle-like teeth arranged in 25 rows, it looks like something out of a Japanese horror scroll. It hasn't changed its design in 80 million years. Why change perfection? It strikes like a cobra, its hinged jaw allowing it to swallow prey half its size. And don't forget the cookie-cutter shark. It's small, but it's a biological nightmare. It has a specialized mouth that acts like a suction cup and a saw. It attaches itself to whales, submarines, and even other sharks, and scoops out a perfect circle of flesh. It doesn't kill, it grazes on the living. The trenches, the Hadal Zone. Now we reach the final frontier, the Hadal Zone, named after Hades, the god of the underworld. This is the region from 20,000 to 36,000 feet. Here, even the normal deep-sea monsters can't survive. In the Mariana Trench, we find the snailfish. It looks delicate, almost translucent. You can see its internal organs through its skin. How does it survive pressure that would crush a nuclear submarine? Its body is packed with a chemical called TMAO, trimethylamine N-oxide, which prevents its proteins and cells from being crushed at the molecular level. It is a master of quantum survival. In these trenches, there are also amphipods, tiny shrimp-like creatures. But here they are the size of dinner plates. They have evolved to eat wood and plastic that sinks to the bottom. Even here, at the most remote point on our planet, we find the traces of humanity and creatures that have learned to eat our waste. The alien within. We often look at the stars and wonder if there is alien life out there. We send probes to Mars and scan the moons of Jupiter, but we forget that we have an alien world right here under miles of salt water. We have explored more of the surface of the moon than we have of our own ocean floor. Every time we send a remotely operated vehicle, ROV, into a new trench, we find species that shouldn't exist. Fish with invisible skin that absorbs 99.9% of light, making them the ultimate stealth predators. Jellyfish that look like floating fireworks. Microbial mats that live off pure chemicals instead of oxygen. The deep sea isn't creepy because it wants to scare us. It's creepy because it is perfectly adapted to an environment that is hostile to human life. It is a reminder that we share this planet with ancient, powerful forces that don't need the sun to survive. They don't need us. They were here before the dinosaurs, and they will likely be here long after we are gone. The unanswered questions. As we begin our long ascent back to the surface, back to the light and the air, we are left with a chilling thought. We have seen the anglerfish, the giant squid, and the zombie worms. But what haven't we seen? The ocean is 12,000 feet deep on average, and we have only mapped a tiny fraction of it in high resolution. There are canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, and mountains taller than the Himalayas that have never been seen by human eyes. There are sounds recorded in the deep, like the bloop, that suggest creatures larger than any blue whale might still be hiding in the dark. The deep sea is a library of biological secrets. It holds the keys to longevity, to medicine, and to our own history. But it is a library that guards its books with crushing weight and eternal night. The abyss calls. So the next time you stand on a beach and look out at the blue water, remember, you are looking at the roof of a giant, dark skyscraper. Beneath your feet, in the silent, pressurized gloom, monsters are hunting. They are eating marine snow, fighting sperm whales, and glowing in the dark. The blue you see is just a thin veil. Beneath it lies a world of eternal darkness, crushing pressure, and creatures that have mastered the art of the impossible. Because in the abyss, the only thing more terrifying than what we found is what is still waiting to be discovered. I am Ocean Mystery. If you want to continue this journey into the unknown, if you want to see the face of the abyss, subscribe and hit the bell. We have so much more to show you. The deep is calling. Will you answer?